Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about the political scandal that marked the Roaring Twenties. Here we go. This scandal was called the Teapot Dome scandal, and it was a political corruption scandal that really harmed the Harding administration. Remember that guy, Warren Harding, the president we talked about before? That's the guy. So here's President Harding, and the reason he's involved in this scandal is because this was a problem that happened with one of his cabinet members in his administration. The guy that I'm talking about is Albert B. Fall. Interestingly enough, this guy here, this cabinet member, was the Secretary of the Interior when President Harding was president. And this guy was doing some shady stuff. So here's what he was actually doing. He was leasing oil reserves that would actually belong to the Navy of the United States. He was leasing those to private oil companies in a couple of places, in Teapot Dome in Wyoming, and a couple of other places in California. And when he was doing this, it's not necessarily that that's the illegal part, it's that he was providing these leases to these companies without them having to bid or compete against each other. It was more like he was kind of giving them preferential treatment. And the guy was accused of receiving money in exchange for this. So he was getting a little kickback from this activity. This is Teapot Dome here on the screen. You'll probably see here with my little laser. There you go. There's Teapot Dome, and this is the state of Wyoming, almost a perfectly geometric square here. And this is Teapot Dome there where my laser is. Okay, so that's the Teapot Dome place where the oil reserves were. So here's what happens. There's an investigation that goes on trying to find out what Albert Fall was doing. And the investigation was led by a senator named Thomas Walsh. And this guy is trying to find out why Fall was doing this. And this photo you see here is actually one of the oil businessmen. He was here in front of the Senate testifying about what was going on. And here's the exact result of this investigation. It turns out that Albert Fall was convicted of accepting bribes from these oil companies, and Fall became the first cabinet member ever in all of American history to go to prison. But no one was convicted of paying the bribe to Albert Fall, so he's the one that ended up going to jail, not the people who paid him. And although Fall was to blame for this scandal, this really damaged President Harding's reputation. This evidence of all this wrongdoing didn't happen until 1923, when Harding had already passed away, but this really damaged his reputation as president. And it really brought into question people's trust in the government. It affected the way people saw leaders. It made them lose trust in their leaders. And I think a lot of people were not the same after this event. It is one of the first political scandals until the 1970s when President Nixon was involved in the Watergate scandal, which we're going to learn about later. But anyway, this is the Teapot Dome scandal in a nutshell. I just wanted to teach you the main ideas of this scandal, and so I hope you learned something new.